Coach, another tough week in the SEC as you get ready to head to A&M. What kind of stands out to you about their offense?
Well, first of all, obviously the skill positions are extremely explosive. They have great skill. Their offensive line is obviously really good as well. Big up front, bigger probably in the last couple of weeks up front a little bit, maybe a little bit more athletic, well coached obviously as all O-lines in this league are. And so, yeah, they present all kinds of challenges for you. And if you're not, doing what you're supposed to do and having your eyes where you're supposed to have them and tackling well, they can create explosive plays really fast.
But back to A&M too, you were there 2 years ago. What's the challenge? Leach used to always talk about A&M, Kyle Field having some of the loudest crowds in the country. But what's the challenge for your defense when you're the road team in an environment like that?
Yeah, I don't know defensively if it impacts you maybe as much as offensively, because obviously the noise and everything. The only thing to me is if you allow it to distract you, but the noise factor isn't the same on our side. So to me, it's just getting out there and not allowing the keeping your emotional control and doing your job within the hype that naturally occurs in that kind of atmosphere.
Outside of a couple runs by Ray Davis that he broke late in some other games, talking to DeMonte about that, it seemed like you guys' run fits have been better. What have you seen from that group?
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty simple. I thought we had more of an edge, in the last, 6 quarters and how we played the run. I thought also we're not trading one for one. We're maybe more on the attack, maybe not so concerned about, hey, where I'm supposed to be or where I'm supposed to fit, and more just getting off the ball and going, And to me, that's what I saw at the first and second level of our defense.
Just talking about those end of the first half situations, last week was the 6th time out of 9 games this group has given up a touchdown in the last minute of the first half. So what specifically are you guys working on, if anything, to guard against that happening, those 2-minute drill type situations?
I think first off, you just look at the breakdowns when it happens, and whether it's 2 minute or whether it's the first drive of the game, the breakdowns are the same, and obviously sometimes in 2 minutes there's more tempo involved, but in today's game, 2 minute to me is a different scenario because everybody plays with tempo too, so you're used to that more. I think it just comes down to executing and not being high and low in our execution and doing things that we need to do, whether it be getting a call, whether it be getting lined up, whether it be having our eyes where we're supposed to, or tackling well. I mean, playing good defense, playing bad defense, whether it's 2 minute drill or first drive of the game,
DeCam had a really good game the other night, made tackles, broke up balls, things like that. So now, have you figured out what's going to go on with the other cornerback? It's just going to be by game.
I think it'll be throughout the week who practices better, and honestly within the game who's playing better, I did think DeCam played well. I thought he played more aggressive. I think he played as aggressive a game as he's played this year. I was real proud of that.
Ainias Smith is a guy that's been an absolute terror in this conference. I mean, obviously the speed stands out, but he's more than just a kickoff guy. What are your thoughts about him?
I have great respect for him because he's a guy, he'll line up at fullback, they'll put him in the eye, they'll line him up split backs, he's the lead blocker, He does so many things for them that not your typical receiver at his stature would do. And obviously he's extremely dynamic with the ball in his hands. So he's a football player. He does everything for him.
There's some concerns about Mac Johnson, but 2 years ago he came in here with LSU and just hit all those slant patterns and just had a big day passing. How is he? In the 2 years you've watched him develop since then, what's he like?
I've always thought he's an extremely dangerous quarterback because of his arm strength. He can put the ball where it needs to be. I think you got to get pressure on him. We were able to do that last year here, right? And I think obviously you saw the result. But no, he's very skilled. Obviously he's an intelligent football player as well with his heritage, his lineage, and all that. So great challenge for us for sure.
You saw late against Kentucky, John Lewis just blow that play up in the backfield. Is that good to see his talent? Is it kind of frustrating for you knowing that when he's going the right direction, that's the kind of plays he can make?
He's an explosive guy, and he plays so hard that when an opportunity presents itself to make a play like that, it's great to see him make it, And that's the thing. I mean, John's the type of guy that you don't ever have to coach John on effort. John's going to play 100 miles an hour. And so I'm just excited that he's played more physical, he's played more discipline, he's done his job, and hopefully continues.
It may not show in the stat sheet, but when after game grading by outside people, Sean Preston just consistently is there. He's not spectacular, but he keeps making plays.
Right. Well, Sean to me, with all the experience Sean has, right, he's starting to put it together, and all that experience shows it's hard to replicate experience. And so I'm proud of what he's doing, and we're going to have to continue to build with him as a key piece back there, obviously.
What's it mean for you as a linebackers coach for Buki to be on the short list for the Butkus Award?
I told him I was just really proud of him, and I mean, but again, he's the type of guy, I don't care who coaches Buki Watson. Buki Watson's going to be a good player because of Buki Watson, so it is not about me, it's about him, and I'm so proud of what he's done, so proud of what Jed's done. Those guys come to work every single day with the same mentality, and so, you just got to continue and finish strong.
obviously, some challenges last week. When you go back and look at the film, I mean, where do you see maybe the most inconsistency?
You know, again, we've been poor scoring touchdowns in the red area, right? And you know, felt like we had some opportunities down there that, you know, we just didn't capitalize on, and we've got to make sure that we're taking advantage of those opportunities. Obviously, you know, the turnover was something that was big, but you know, we had too many penalties where we get down there again in the red area and we get a penalty that sets us back a long way. So you know, we got to be better in those critical moments, right? You know, and really just we didn't have enough explosives. We only had, you know, 4 real explosives on the day. We got to find a way to create explosives and just do a better job of executing throughout the game plan.
Chris Parson, obviously responsible for one of those explosives. What do you make of his first action out there on the field?
Yeah, I thought Chris, you know, handled the moment really well and brought a little spark of energy, and you know, you can tell in the few amount of plays that Chris got to play that he really enjoys playing the game of football, right? And I thought he did a great job leading the guys and going out there and completing a couple passes, and you know, there's a lot that he's got to work on as well, you know, with his footwork and timing and anticipation. But you know, I'm really encouraged with Chris Parson.
There were a couple of plays out there where he just kind of turned to the sideline and said, "Get out of here." I mean, we had a full line up there. He recognized it and took charge.
Yeah, Chris is a very, very smart, intelligent player, and like I told you guys, you know, last week, he's really done a great job of preparing himself each week like he's going to be the starter, and really, you know, asking Mike and asking Will questions, and you know, he's really a joy to be around, and he's going to have a great career here.
This may sound pointed, I don't mean for it to be, but Simeon Price comes in and gets a carry, runs off 16 yards off the left side and doesn't get a carry the rest of the ball game. I mean, kind of how do you explain that?
Yeah, you know, Simeon had a great carry that was actually a checked call, but you know, sometimes as the game flows like that, guys get in and you know, you just don't get them another carry, and that's something that, you know, I could be more conscious of with all of our guys, and try to make sure that we're distributing the ball to, you know, all those running backs.
As the quarterback coach and coordinator, how do you, Coach Arnett talked this morning about if Will's ready to go, he'll go. If not, you'll alternate. How do you go into a week where you may not know your starter until Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, that's you know, it's day by day, right, for us as far as planning and trying to put together a game plan that you know, plays to each of those guys' strengths, right? And you know, obviously, you know, Will and Chris have probably more similar strengths than, you know, Mike, where, you know, we utilize his legs a lot more. So, you know, it's really the same kind of game plan each week where you've got to be prepared for everything. And not only at the quarterback position, but also with, you know, tight ends. And if you lose one of those tight ends, now you got to be in a 10 personnel or a 20 personnel group. And so it's not just quarterback position specific, but you know, it does. It's something that you know, just kind of get used to each week, planning to play to all of their strengths.
Looking at the defense for A&M, what stands out to you there?
I think these, you know, up front, these guys are really big and physical and twitchy. You know, the thing that really stands out to me is the too deep. There's no step down, right? I mean, these guys are really, really good. When they roll guys, I mean, there's no drop off. You know, I think Coach Durkin does a great job defensively, and you know, these guys are well coached, and they're physical, man. That's it's probably the best defense that we've played in quite a while.
Your offensive line drew some penalties, but they looked like they were penalties of aggression,
Yeah.
trying to make things happen there. Can you live with that?
Yeah, you know, there are some penalties, you know, that you can live with, and you know, the one down the goal line, although we'd like to have it back, I mean, you know, the kid is playing hard, man, and anytime that guys are playing with passion, now you've got to control that, right, and make sure that they understand, you know, learning from those mistakes, but some of those, you know, you look back and you go, yep, that kid was trying hard. He was playing hard, and he was giving it everything he had, and, you know, we can correct those mistakes.
Mike is obviously an experienced guy. I know things hadn't gone to script for him these last 3 weeks. As his coach, you know, how do you kind of coach him as a human, you know, to just kind of deal with the adversity and not get down?
Yeah, Mike is a very positive person, right? And he handles adversity just from a personality standpoint very well. And just supporting him and making sure that, we're putting him in the best positions. And, if there's, you try to really identify, like, where do the issues exist and how can I help him? How can I correct that and put him in the best spots? Whether that's, throwing the ball on the move or giving him, routes where the ball comes out of his hand quicker or, but it is. I mean, it's a struggle for everybody, right? Whenever you lose a game, struggle for all of us, right? To get back up and go to work. But, he's a competitor and a great positive young man.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.